Hello, I'm Chief Jabir Jami from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, Office of Field Operations. DHS is the lead agency coordinating ongoing efforts across the federal government to resettle Afghan allies. We've created this short video to assist you in best fulfilling your daily duties as the United States conducts Operation Allies Welcome. Operation Allies Welcome includes a broad range of services throughout the resettlement process, from security vetting and initial immigration processing to COVID-19 testing and resettlement support for individuals who are neither U.S. citizens nor law enforcement lawful permanent residents. To best facilitate their resettlement and ease potential interactions with law enforcement, it is important to understand some of the cultural nuances you may notice as we invite Afghans into our country and welcome them into our communities. Cultural and religious competency can help welcome our new neighbors and prevent misunderstandings. To be safe and effective, an officer must be able to differentiate between a cultural norm and a potential threat. Misunderstandings can lead to people being injured or killed and can create situations that make your missions in your community more difficult. The cultural and religious topics in this video will only address non-crisis situations and will provide some basic cultural competency tools to ensure officer safety and community safety. As law enforcement officers, your duty is to preserve and protect the safety of all persons in your local communities. This includes the protection of the newly resettled Afghans from any threat, including from those who would target them because of their race, religion, or national origin. Like all persons entering the country, all Afghans being admitted have been fully vetted by intelligence, law enforcement, and counterterrorism professionals before admissions into the United States. DHS reviews each case and makes admissibility determinations that protect national security interests and public safety. The immigration status of our Afghan allies should not influence you as you decide who to stop, question, search, or arrest. Under our nation's Constitution, immigration enforcement is the sole responsibility of the federal government. However, the safety of all persons in the community is a responsibility we share. A welcome hand and open mind are important because you may be among the first to welcome Afghans into your local community as they go through the extremely life-altering process of resettling. Communication is key to peaceful interactions and to avoid misunderstandings. As with any immigrant coming into the country, DHS fully expects our Afghan allies to obey all federal, state, and local laws. Several of our interagency partners and resettlement organizations share resources to help recent arrivals understand basic rights and responsibilities in the U.S. so that they and their families can be happy and safe as they build new lives here. Like those who came before them, the process may not be smooth or quick given the continued adjustments necessary for life in a new country. All immigrants enjoy the same basic freedoms available to U.S. citizens, including freedom of speech, religion, movement, and due process. Similarly, they have the right to request legal counsel as well as language assistance and disability accommodations when interacting with government personnel, including law enforcement. They have the right to be free from abuse harassment, and violence, which unfortunately are real risks that this community may face. They may be targeted because of who they are, how they worship, or where they come from. Our Afghan allies are encouraged to report crime to local police if they are the victim of a crime or witness to a crime, and have been told to call 911 if in immediate danger. Once they enter the United States, Afghan nationals will be eligible to apply for asylum or use other available immigration pathways, including T visas, U visas, and Violence Against Women Act protections. As with all persons, you can help crime victims receive needed services locally, as well as obtain qualifying immigration protection to participate in an investigation or prosecution. A law enforcement certification may be necessary for a victim to receive immigration protection and better help you investigate the underlying crime. The certification itself does not grant any legal immigration status, nor does it create liability for you or your agency. The availability of these protections helps facilitate the reporting of hate crimes, domestic violence, human trafficking, and other crimes such as assault. These protections also strengthen your ability to successfully combat these crimes in your community. Many victims may not know of these protections. You can help by being aware that victims may qualify, referring them to DHS or local community-based organizations for assistance, and completing the certification form. As law enforcement officers, you will serve members of this community, helping those in need and responding to violations of the law. Knowing a few cultural considerations will help you be more effective in your interactions. Stereotypes often influence perceptions of individuals. Afghanistan is not a self-contained ethnic unit, and its culture is not uniform. Afghanistan is home to many ethnic, linguistic, and religious groups. The largest group in Afghanistan are the Pashtuns, being 40% of the country's populations. While Afghanistan is 99% Muslims, there are many sects of Islam and other faiths among our Afghan allies. Afghans are as diverse as Americans and are not a monolith. There are a range of cultural norms and practices across the country, as well as ethnic backgrounds. Afghans have been migrating to the United States since late 1800s, although many arrived after the 1979 Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, as of 2019, there were more than 156,000 Afghan Americans living in the United States. They are very much a thread in the American fabric. From our small businesses, owners, and entrepreneurs to teachers, doctors, lawyers, and law enforcement officers like myself. It is important to understand that some of our arriving Afghan allies may have a fear of law enforcement agencies and their role in society. Their perception of law enforcement may have been shaped by fear and corruption in their own home country. Our Afghan allies may be unsure of what is going to happen next when interacting with law enforcement because of such experiences. They may also not understand distinction between local, state, and federal law enforcement. Afghan culture tends to give respect to people who represent authority. So in interactions with law enforcement, it may be considered impolite and disrespectful to give constant and direct eye contact. They may glance at then look away. This should not be considered suspicious. Many cultures value respect and saving face. Individuals may wish to be interviewed apart from their families to save face. Publicity and public scenes may also cause unnecessary embarrassment and humiliation. Respect and modesty considerations may mean not touching someone of the opposite gender, which may include a handshake. It is better to let the person of the opposite gender extend their hand as a signal that it is okay to shake hands. Touching of a hand covering or body covering may be perceived as offensive. We know and respect that it's your job to be observant, but be aware that a male staring at or touching a woman is thought to be inappropriate. If searching a person is warranted, explain why the touching or removal of a head covering is necessary. Public searches or removal of a head coverings may violate one's religious tenets. Whenever possible, have an officer of the same gender bring the person into a private room or an area to do these searches. Ask the person to remove the covering themselves. When in doubt about cultural or religious considerations, ask the person. Paying attention to details like these will go a long way in building rapport, and cooperation with the Afghan community. Limited English proficiency may be one of the greatest barriers to effective communication. Speaking in a foreign language or with a heavy accent is never cause for suspicion. The public has the right to respect language assistance. They may ask for a translator or interpreter in their language when interacting with government personnel and to understand written information. You should be prepared to know what resources your department offers for language services. Names may also lead to some confusion or concern. Muhammad, for example, is common as a first, middle, or last name and is spelled with great variation. It's the most popular name from the region. Additionally, some names may be spelled in a variety of ways in English because some sounds are not in the English alphabet. Generally, it's best is ask someone how to spell their name in English. Due to these and other cultural factors, the same name may be spelled differently, or different names may appear in the same document for the same individual. Most of what we have covered should be familiar, as it has all been an extension of existing community policing practices. When law enforcement engages the community in daily services, you act as a guardian of civil rights and civil liberties. Enhancing communication and building trust are the foundation to help build communities that are resilient to crime, hate, and terrorism, and in which all members have the safety and freedom necessary to thrive. In closing, as Secretary of Homeland Security, Mayorkas said, this mission reflects the best of who we are as a country. Thank you for your assistance in this shared endeavor to welcome our allies, make our nation safer, and resettle Afghans in need.